Hello everyone, it's Trey, and today I will be doing a video tutorial, or basically a huge chunk of information for new players that are coming to Valorant and are struggling to start. Those like without CS backgrounds or those without FPS backgrounds, TAC shooters in general, tactical shooters. So I'll be covering the 6 main topics that you would need to get used to in tactical shooters, and how you would actually be able to practice and get better by yourself. I'll probably be focusing more on individual rather than playing with your team and blah blah blah, because the first thing you need to work on is yourself before you can actually make a team and stuff like that. So the first segment we're going to talk about is aim, right? So when you talk about aim, the first thing that comes to your mind will be sensitivity. Well, I am in Korean because it makes me a better player. But sensitivity is very important. You don't want a sensitivity that's way too high. For example, a sensitivity that's way too high, 1.5. I can't even aim at the head right now, right? But you want a sensitivity that you don't want a sensitivity that's way too low as well. Like, this is my whole mouse pad. Like, I can't do a 180. So you want something in between, which for me would be 0.45. It's pretty nice, pretty solid. So you need to find what's perfect for you. You can't go off professional player settings and think, oh, he's a nuts aimer, let me just copy him. Obviously my sense right now is also 10 cents, but you can't really just copy a pro player and that's my sense. I mean, you can, you'll get used to it sooner or later, but is that really your full potential? You have to find something that you're comfortable with. I have played with high, with low, and with medium sense, and I guess I am most comfortable with this sense right now. I mean high as in Hiko sense high, or governor sense high actually. So after you find what's comfortable for you for sensitivity, I'll probably make another video for sensitivity when I get my new mouse. But yes, so that's sensitivity. Next will be zoom sense. Zoom sense is basically what you're comfortable with when you're using an op or a marshal, because it's definitely what you're comfortable with clicking. I don't use one because it's not exactly a one-to-one flick, so I'm not really comfortable with one zoom sense. But actually in this game it's called scope sense, but it's the same. So next will be movement. You will need to master the mechanical skill of not moving while shooting, right? Counter strafing. A very easy way to train that is actually like this. You see this pillar and you just shoot between the pillar like that. Just hold A and then press D, hold A, press D, tap D. Like that. If you're shooting on target, at head level, you're on the right track. If you're going like that, you're on the wrong track. Just try to reset and get back on track. So that is movements. Just stop moving while shooting, but you need to stay versatile. You're still moving, it's just stopping yourself. That's called counter strafing. And also, a lot of people in high, medium tier elo, around gold or flat, they tend to crouch way too much, and crouching basically makes you a sitting duck. So yeah, try to avoid crouching as well. While people in really low elos, they don't even crouch at all. So yeah, that's something they have to work on. Find a mix between. Now next will be agents. The agents you select will be will determine how you would play. For example, if you select a duelist like Jet, you would play more aggressive. You would be dashing into their faces or dashing out of combat once you make an aggressive play. For example, that's why Jet has the best opping capability because she can dash out really. She can get to an awkward position, like let's say this is a wall. She can get to an awkward position here, really aggressive, and then she can just dash out, right? That is why Jet is one of the strongest offers. Duelists basically give you the capability or the abilities that the duelists have. Basically gets you to make killing people easier, right? And then you have like sentinels whose main job is to stop the pushes. For example, this is like an entryway to a site. You stop it like that, right? You will delay them. That's what like sentinels are supposed to do. Delay the push until the team rotates. For example, you can do a killjoy and you can put your turret down. Your turret will shoot at the enemies. Now you have the initiators. The initiators usually are what, as the name says, initiating the fights. So they usually have flashes that enable the team to rush in with that flash. So everyone else is blind but your team, and the team just pushes in. And they also, basically, if you played League before, they will be the crowd control people who like blinds people and like stuns. That's basically what initiators are. Except Sova. Sova is one of the initiators that doesn't have crowd control, but he has a recon dart, which will give you info, give you and your team info, as you can see. So basically, you have wall hacks. Next will be controllers. Controllers are the people who smoke, the people who control sight lines, if you think of it that way. For example, like this, I can't see past it. I can go into the smoke and try to camp it, but I can't see past the smoke. Thus, in CSGO, this will be your smokers or your smoke grenades, but in Valorant, it's an actual role. Now, you also have, I think that's about it actually. Yeah, so you have the sentinels, the duelists, the controllers, and the initiators. Those are the 4 rules of Valorant. So, other than abilities and other than the roles of the agents, basically you have to work on teamwork as well, like knowing when to play off your teammates, knowing what abilities will be used at what time. Like for example, if you see a killjoy turret watching flank, you don't exactly have to watch it until it triggers, right? Because if it triggers, you'll know someone's flanking, type of thing. So you have to pay attention to your map as well, and that comes map awareness, but I will not go into that. The third thing will be communication. Obviously, you have to have your voice on, your push to talk. You have to speak to your teammates, call out to your teammates, and also, if you're an initiator or controller, timing is a very important thing, where you have to time your flashes, time your pushes, time your smokes, that sort of thing. The fourth thing I want to talk about is economy. When to buy pistols, when to buy SMGs, when to buy a judge or a shotgun, when to buy a bulldog, or when to buy a sniper, or even when to buy an LMG, right? So usually on pistol rounds, obviously you will have a pistol. It's up to you whether you want to go to ghost or you want an armor. Now, it's actually a proven fact that if it's a one-on-one battle and you're hitting someone in the same place as the enemy is hitting you, if you have armor and a classic, you're actually gonna win that fight. The time to kill is actually low. So yeah. But on anti-eco rounds are basically a round after you lost your pistol round. People usually buy a shorty or a deagle or armor. It's up to you really. But yes, usually the pistols, we will buy either the classic, the frenzy, or the ghost, or the sheriff. Usually we avoid the sheriff unless we are desperate for money. Speaking about desperate for money, here we have the Stinger. The Stinger usually is a force buy weapon. Usually it's only good for 1 kill, and then you will have to reload or you will have to fall back into your current position. The Stinger is really underrated in my opinion. It's not easy to control, but it basically guarantees you 1 kill. And the Spectre is just a bad weapon. Like, I feel like if you can buy a Spectre, you can just buy a Stinger and buy next round. For the Bucky is nuts. If you guys have not seen Shotgun Sage on YouTube, please watch it. It really brings awareness to like how they really need to nerf the shotguns. Same with the Judge. It's just an auto shotty from CS if you have seen. The Bulldog is basically a FAMAS from CS. It has slow fire rate, but significant amount of damage, I guess? But yeah, slow fire rate, not the best accuracy, not the best spray, but if you zoom in, it's a 3 round shot. That is the Bulldog. Now you have the Guardian, which is kind of like the SG in CS. It's the gay gun, the auto sniper. It's pretty accurate, but for the price 2,400, you might as well just like buy half armor and buy like a Vandal or a Phantom. Now the Vandal is your obligatory AK-47 in any game, or like a M4, right? The M4 is more like the Phantom, but I'll get into that later. So the AK-47 or the Vandal, it's a one-hit headshot at any range. So for example, if I come over here, it's a one-hit headshot. So there is no damage fall off for the Vandal. The Vandal has a slower fire rate than the Phantom, but also higher one bullet damage rate. So, but that doesn't really matter when you are close to the enemies. When you're close to the enemies, that wouldn't matter because you would just one-shot them anyway. Look at this. This is the damage fall off of the Phantom. This is why in some positions it is stronger to have a Vandal. But the Phantom is still very useful and is actually one of my favorite guns in Valorant. Because if you're close, it's still one-shots. It's like an M4 in CS, literally. What literally? It's just silenced. It's basically an M4A1. It's very accurate, and the spray is easier to control than a Vandal. But it is also balanced out by the fire rate, because that makes it harder to control as well. So overall, I feel like the Phantom and the Vandal are in a pretty good place right now in terms of balance. The only thing about the Phantom that the Vandal can do much better is to spray and run at the same time. But even so, the Vandal can also do that, it's just not as accurate. And your snipers, I don't really recommend buying a Marshall ever, other than like you're strapped on money or an anti-eco round where you know they won't buy armor. But if you're strapped on money, you might as well just buy a Sheriff. For the Operator, it's a nuts weapon. It's a bit too expensive in my opinion. The op wasn't that. It was strong, but I wouldn't feel like it was awfully strong. That they had to like make it 5,000. The Ares and the Odin is just, I don't know why these guns exist. But yeah. So now you have to decide like whether you should buy armor. Half armor will cost $400, and 1,000 armor, 50 armor will cost $1,000. So basically, in any situation, you would want to buy full armor, unless you feel like you can get a kill and fall back, or like in the position you feel like it isn't really needed to buy a full shield. For example, half shield Reyna is very applicable because she can overheal. So yeah, you have to think of stuff like that, and you have to think of when is it necessary to like buy a smaller weapon and just buy abilities, and when is it necessary to like you don't need to buy abilities so much because your abilities aren't really crucial in the round. For example, for smokers, your abilities are really crucial to block sight lines. For flashes, yeah, you need to like flash people in and get the kills. Like that's very detrimental in the round if you don't have those abilities. So yes, you have to think about that too. The fifth thing I'm going to talk about is adaptability. Whether you can adapt to a round, whether you can switch between your playstyles, whether you can find your own playstyle in fact, and with adaptability comes consistency, right? If you're able to adapt to every situation, you are consistent. You will be able to adapt to different enemies that you face or different teammates and still be able to work well with them. That's because you adapted to them. Thus, you are consistently playing at your best. That is consistency. So, one way to be super consistent in Valorant is to be able to adapt easily. Now, the sixth point I'm going to make, which is the very last point, is to focus on positioning. Knowing when to back off, when to go in, knowing like peeker's advantage, knowing to be further away from the corner when you're peeking it, or knowing to like fast peek it like this, or knowing to jump peek and opper. It's game sense, and to gain that game sense, you need to play the game a lot. When I say a lot, I mean a lot. Every day, pros play like 16 hours a day or 12 hours a day. That's why they are the best. If you don't put in the practice that you really like and you really want to improve, trust me, you won't improve that much. You will improve and then you will plateau. So that is all I have for the new players, and also maybe the intermediate players that are coming to watch this video and trying to figure out how to be more consistent and how to be better at Valorant. This has been Shay, and thank you guys so much for watching.